everyone, and my name is Sheila, and welcome to Sheila's English Country again. And today we'll read Magic Treehouse Stories. Good morning, gorillas. And today we're starting at chapter 2, Cloud Forest, and they're now reading at chapter 5, okay? And now, are you ready for this to book and to start and meet some lots of characters? And now here we go. And first, you can read Magic Treehouse Story. Good morning, gorillas. And chapter 2, Cloud Forest. Jack opened his eyes. I can't tell what kind of a rainforest this is, said Annie. He stared out the window. Jack looked out too. It seemed to be daytime, but he couldn't see much of anything. The quiet forest was covered with frogs, and Jack opened the research book and read. The misty rainforest in the mountains of Central Africa is called a cloud forest. Oh, I get it, said Annie. We're up so high, it's like we're in a cloud. Cool, said Jack. He printed out his notebook and wrote, Cloud forest, rainforest high, up in the mountains. And then he read more. An African cloud forest is home to many animals, including an elephant, water buffaloes, and a black leopard. Then Jack looked up. Black leopards, he said. Don't worry, said Annie, and Jack clearly strode and keep reading. Antelopes and wild hogs and gorillas. Gorillas, said Annie. Don't worry, said Jack. I'm not worried. I love gorillas, said Annie. They're totally great. I don't know about that, said Jack. He pictured a huge aphids and pounding in his chest. I like to study them, to write down in their habits and behavior, just like a real scientist. Wherever, said Annie. Let's just go. Will be a fun adventure. She looked up down the ladder, and Jack drew a notebook and out a research book and a flashlight to a tap. And he hooked an umbrella of his arm. Then he followed Annie, and they stepped into the ground. Jack could see better. The fog had turned it into a fine mist. And Jack and Annie started towards a cloud forest. They walked around a huge tree strapped in a mosses, and they pushed it up past tall scrubs of lofty plants. Wow, look at that tree, said Annie. She pointed to a fat tree. It had a wide lower bumps, padded in a thick cushions of moss. It looked like a piece of a furniture, said Annie. It's like an armchair. Yeah, said Jack. I better draw it. He put an umbrella in the ground. He pulled a flashlight on the pack and looked and next the umbrella. And he took out his notebook and pencil. And Annie walked ahead, and Jack started to draw a simple picture of a fat tree. Hey, Jack, Annie called in a whispery voice. Come here, quick, and Jack grabbed his task. He moved around in the tree and caught up with Annie. Listen, she said, and Jack heard a branches snap. Crack, a leopard, he wondered. Crack, crack, and Jack nervously looked around in the forest. Maybe he should go up in a treehouse, he said. He could read a little more and learn it a little more. And Annie didn't answer. Jack turned to her. She was grinning from ear to ear as she started into bushes, and Jack followed her gaze. A dark, shaggy little head was peeking out from a tussle of leaves. Boo Boo, a small gorilla, asked. And now chapter 3, Boo Boo, and we came to start for chapter 3 now. And Anna reading chapter 4, okay? And the gorilla's fur was very black against the green leaves. She had a large nostrils and small ears. Her bright brown eyes were full of a mischief. Boo, 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 she said. Boo, boo. Boo, boo yourself, said Gorilla. And the gorilla had behind the leaves again. And then she poked her head out. Peekaboo, said Annie, and the gorilla clapped their hands together. And she stuck out her tongue, and Annie and Jack both laughed. Boo, 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 the gorilla said, And then she bounded away in a misty forest. And hey, Boo Boo, don't leave us, said Annie. And Jack rolled his eyes. Don't name her Boo Boo, he said, Annie. You don't have to. Wait, Boo Boo, Annie shouted. She took off after a small gorilla. Turn every animal into your best friend, Jack finished it, and he shook his head. And then she made a list in a notebook. Gorilla, Bear, and a place Peekaboo claps hands and stick out a tongue. As he rode, and Jack heard it too, laughing. And then she had heard a high shriek, and he caught his breath in a leopard. He wondered, and carried in a notebook. Jack hurried in the direction of the noses, and he found Annie with a small gorilla perched in the 2 trees. What's wrong? Said Jack, standing in a tree with no trees. Nothing, said Annie, with just playing, and a small gorilla squeaked again. And then she scratched her head and helped it. And Annie scratched it too. She scratched her head and hiccuped. While they played, and Jack studied the gorilla a bit more. He noticed what about the size of a 3-eared kid, and the fingers looked like a human fingers. They even know fingernails. He made a new list. Young gorilla size of a 3-year-old and the fingers like humans and fingernails. And Jack heard a tree leaf shaking. He looked up, and then the gorilla was both climbed together. And hey, come down, Annie, Jack called. You might fall, plus it's getting dark. And Jack looked around and the light was fading and quickly from a forest. Is the night falling? He wondered. Oh, the storm coming. And a small gorilla scratched again and climbed even higher. Hey, Boo Boo, where are you going? Said Annie. She climbed even higher too. That's enough, Annie. Come down now. Oh, Annie, have select this gorilla's name Boo Boo, I think. And branches, Annie did the same, and the gorilla broke a peak of a tree bark and nibbled like a candy bar, and Annie broke at a piece of a dart. She nibbled it like a candy bar too, and the gorilla threw a dart. She grabbed it into a tree branch and swung into another tree. Don't try it, Annie, shouted Jack, as his warning came too late, and Annie threw down her dart. She grabbed a tree bark and tried to swing another tree, and Annie didn't swing like a gorilla. He fell from another tree and crashed down around her near Jack. Annie, he cried, Chapter 4, a nightmare story right now. And I think Annie are falling down into a tree. The gorilla are like monkeys, but humans don't do like that. So Annie might be falling down in a tree. It's very dangerous. And now tomorrow we started at chapter 4 and then I'm reading at chapter 6, okay? And now did you have fun? Your English? Could you come up with some this book? But tomorrow we will meet a new chapter to read, so it might be another story to read, okay? And thank you for coming to my YouTube, and please thumbs up my YouTube. And now bye bye for now, and have a nice day and have a nice Thursday. Bye bye everybody.